And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crypto Cave podcast. My name's Jacob. I'm joined by my colleagues Rufus and Phil, and today we are joined by DeFi Django. Hi, Django. Django Jax from
How's it going?
the DeFi Django YouTube channel. Yeah. Uh, Jax, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
I'm just a miner, right? I have a bunch of mining rigs. I mean, that pretty much sums up my expertise, but yeah.
I think you also have some kind of world record, right?
Oh yeah, I did stack a bunch of mining rigs up on the tower, world's tallest mining tower. I don't think anybody I looked, I couldn't find anybody that had a bigger tower than me, so definitely got the world record until someone tries to break it.
Yeah. How many mining rigs did you stack on top of each other?
12 open frames. It was more than 15 feet tall in the air. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's I don't think you could go much taller because the frames were starting to bend under their own weight. So I don't think you could go much taller than that.
Were you afraid that they're gonna break? I saw that yeah, I mean, I would have been afraid. I saw that they started to move a little bit and
Yeah, once I got like over like a certain like halfway, like you just barely touch it, the whole thing would wobble. And as I was stacking up, you had to be super careful because any small movement would just the whole thing would just sway. And then yeah, at the end I could see the frame starting to bow out, and I'm like, you can't if this has any more weight, this whole thing's going over. And so it was definitely nervous, but I didn't. I once I got that top one on, I was like, all right, we're done. Because I'm if I put one more on, this could fall, and the goal is not to make it fall. So I think I got as high as anybody would go. I probably higher than most people would have stacked.
I I definitely think you did more than most people would do, for sure.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the people who don't know, our podcast is usually about going on, the events going on in the cryptocurrency space, usually mining space, but also just cryptocurrency in general. And boy, did a lot of things happen last week. Phil, can you tell us a little bit about that?
A few things happened. Just a little bit of implosion. Maybe a little bit bigger than we've ever seen ever. But let's see. Do you have the Bitcoin chart
Yeah,
handy?
yeah. I was just about to pull it up. Let's take a look at the charts because that usually tell a story. Yeah, it's like this is the weekly chart, and we can see a steep decline in the last week.
Yeah. Let's see. What's that? Almost 25%. Could be worse, right? Could be worse. But the drama's still unfolding, like we'll get to in a minute. Um, see, why don't I have a couple other charts that I linked you just to briefly go over the other things that had happened in crypto lands. On the first two are just macro charts.
Mm-hmm.
Since the thing that's been driving most all this bear market has been the Fed hikes, which they're responding to inflation. So we've got a dry container index that's most of the way down. Right. So generally, this is one of many inflation indicators is shipping prices, and quite a bit ways off the top. Still, maybe a little bit more to go where they're trying to stop the boat. Nobody knows. Um, but if you were trying to hang on to any threads of bullishness or get that last little bit of copium out of the tank, this is maybe one thing you could hit. The one I have after this is just showing how much a lot of tech startups in the listed space are down. Um, typically in crypto, when things are down 80, 90%, that's usually pretty close to the bottom. So Coinbase on that list as well. But the overall market is way down. Um, and yeah, maybe some some relevant things are starting to happen.
I think it's some interesting names as well, right? You see Peloton on top there. It really was, the market was so crazy that people were just going crazy on a company that was just selling. What were they selling? Like a fitness
Yeah, like a pedal bike.
a pedal bike,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
like
stationary bike.
how can a company get so huge by selling? I mean, it's not like it was a revolutionary thing or something like that. It was just a lot of very money driven, very money driven stuff, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of household names on that list. It's DoorDash, Spotify, and definitely things that people use every day sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's like Zoom, Spotify, all of these, most of these companies are one, they only do one thing, right? So it's like Peloton, Spotify, Zoom, Lyft. Um, there's probably some more companies like that. Shopify makes it easy to make a shop online, but do they actually innovate? Is there a lot of innovation in that, or I mean, it's just stuff that's been around for a while, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, let's move on to the next.
yeah, yeah. Phil, you sent me this one as well.
Got
It's
yeah,
it's
just
about Arweave, I
two.
think. Yeah,
It's about Meta and Arweave.
Meta and
Meta's choosing
Arweave.
to use Arweave for their NFT storage. There was a couple of NFT rug pulls during the hype where people were able to change the metadata that the NFT represented. So Arweave provides an immutable storage system for that, and they're choosing to use it. Again, last little bit of copium in the tank. Um,
And
let's see,
after
you've got
that, and after this, Meta decided to fire how many people? 11,000
Three.
people? Did they fire 11,000 or 1,100 people? I'm not sure.
1,100, I think. Yeah.
1,100. Okay, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think they employ 11,000.
Oh,
So.
probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I saw this video about a guy who made he made a video on the metaverse, on the Zuckerberg metaverse, and apparently he was just playing that, and it was a pretty popular video on YouTube. But my God, it looked disastrous. It looked like something that you'd make as a proof of concept in your 3D modeling class or something like that. It was terribly designed, and I think we've talked about that before, right? That Mark Zuckerberg had he posted a tweet with him in the metaverse, and basically the only thing that happened is people just made fun of him, and it's
Oh
I'm
yeah, that's the one that looked like a Nintendo GameCube
yeah, yeah.
render or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it looked like the metaverse went back in time. And I think that's interesting because obviously Meta has to make it like that to ensure that it runs on any type of machine, right? Because they have worldwide following, so they need to ensure that it's simple enough that it can run on a very low quality machine, but that just ensures that it looks terrible in the end.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, the
think
Oculus is not that strong.
yeah, yeah, and they spent $15 billion on that, and it kind of looked like I'm not sure if you have any kids or cousins or whatever. They play Roblox a lot, and it kind of looked like a very plain version of Roblox. It just looked terrible. It's like what's gonna happen with Meta? Now that I think people are leaving Facebook. Is there anything new that people should be hyped for? I haven't heard of anything.
Other than
Yeah,
this,
I mean,
yeah, that's about
The
it.
next social media is who knows what it'll be.
Yeah. Well, we might talk about that here in a second. I
Yeah.
think two more stories down. Let's
yeah.
get into the Lebanese using Tether because they don't have any other money. And this is stable and works, and blockchain is really easy to deploy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so blockchain. I was in the nano community for a bit, and there were a lot of people who were accepting nano in Venezuela because it was just basically free to exchange, and it was very popular there because it was just a way that you could give someone a couple of cents. Obviously, with in Venezuela, the current monthly payout is I think less than $5. And if you have less than $5 to spend a month, you don't want to, spend a lot on fees and stuff like that. And obviously, I think crypto helps in a way where you can actually hold on to a currency if the currency is just like falling down a cliff the whole time. Yeah, crypto basically solves that. You can hold something in a currency that you usually wouldn't have. So yeah,
Something that's stable. Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah.
Depends on if it's on Ethereum or not. If they're using some other chain like Matic with maybe fees that are a little bit lower. Because if you've only got $5 and it's $3.50 to send a transaction, you're probably having a bad day.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I always say. I always say, the transaction fee of people go like, oh, this there was a million bucks and it was sent with a transaction fee of 35 cents. And then I was like, but what if you want to send $1? Do you have to pay 35 cents to send $1? That's kind of, yeah, I'm not very happy with that if I have to pay 35 cents. And, I have 35 cents, but what if you don't have 35 cents? You want to pay your neighbor for helping you set up something. You live in a very poor area and you want to send someone $1. You don't want to pay 35% in fees for that. But yeah, I think in the future, especially with the newer layer two payment solutions, there's a lot to, there's a lot of stuff that we can look out to and are probably sub 1 cent transaction fees. Yeah. What else did you have for us, Phil?
Library lost their case versus the SEC. A little bit of bad news that almost got swept under the rug as more bad news followed immediately after this. But the thing to note here is that the opinion written by the judge seems to imply that it doesn't really matter what you say with regards to marketing, what promises you made or didn't make. If you issued a token or possibly even a set of NFTs and you kept some for yourself while distributing the rest, then that apparently constitutes an investment contract and promises of gains because the judge says, of course, they're incentivized to pump their own token, and everybody would, is aware of that, whether or not it was stated.
I
So it's
mean,
kind of a
it's
wild.
basically the smell test. If it smells like a security, if it looks like a security and it smells like a security, then it's a security. Is the way I interpreted that, at least. Is you can't if you hold a bunch of the uh whatever the coin and your income, the team's income is coming from that coin, then that's a security essentially. That's like shares.
Yeah, so why did this happen, Phil? What did library do? I'm not in the loop on this.
They had an ICO They're a kind of a older chain. They're from the I think the 2016, 17 ICO boom era. And they, like many projects, did an ICO. And it's just now, I guess this case has actually been in the works all year, for a couple of years. But it's just now got the decision on it, and it's pretty much I mean, most everything is labeled a security now, I would think, under this. So it's might be pretty chilling to the that token innovation market.
I mean, we'll have to see how it moves forward. I mean, obviously, what we've seen is a lot of this stuff's already moved outside of the U.S. So, I don't know.
Yeah, probably just
Obviously,
continue
we'll
that
be
way.
talking a lot more about that later as well.
Did you ever join an ICO, Django?
Nope.
Really? Not even one?
Not even one, because, well, back then I was still brand new to the space when the ICOs were popping off. Like 2018, 2019, that was like my first year or two in crypto. And I was primarily focused on just building out my mining farm. And I really didn't have that many alts. I had like a couple. I remember buying like EOS and Zilliqa, stuff like those were all pretty hypey back then. But I ended up just, as the prices came down, I ended up just consolidating everything into Bitcoin, and I never invested in any ICOs. So, and then all this stuff started coming out about the ICOs, and then I was like, okay, I'm really glad I didn't invest in the ICOs. So,
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I joined like an if it wasn't an ICO, I think it was an airdrop once. And I think it netted me like $1,000 as soon as it hit the market. And it was
Yeah.
like so insane. I think it was the same era with the ICOs. It was like airdrops, and the ICOs were like the thing to make money. And I had a friend who was like, "Hey man, I'm just making $2,000 a week with ICOs. Or with airdrops. It was airdrops. It wasn't even ICOs. It was airdrops. It was so crazy." And it was basically just free money, and just did that for 2 or 3 weeks, and then the whole market crashed and never really, airdrops never came back that good anymore. Nowadays you get like 15 cents in coins, and you have to pay the fees to move the coins, which is more expensive and stuff like that. You don't have that these days anymore.
yeah. Yeah, I remember like these ICOs, they would get a celebrity on board, and the celebrity would just be like, "Yeah, you should go buy it," and then everyone would buy it, and then it hits the market, then they all just sell it, and it's just like just rug pull after rug pull on these ICOs. So it was crazy for sure. So yeah, I never was in any of that stuff. So
Yeah, I think we had it like this year. It was with the coin launches, right? It wasn't really like ICO-y, was it? Most rug pulls were just
yeah, we're
guys
just
been bringing liquidity to the DeFi markets, pumping up a coin, and then just exiting all at once.
yeah,
Stuff
I
like
think a
that.
lot of like meme coins were this year more rug pulley. Like the biggest one I think was the Squid Game coin, where it went like super high and then just went instantly to
It
zero.
locked you out of being able to sell it. Yeah, that's
Yeah, like that was like an insane. And then there's like a million. Like there's just like once Dogecoin pumped, then there was just a million
Meme coins.
dog tokens coming out. There's so many that there's too many to even list, like how many
Yeah,
there are.
yeah. I
And
think I
so
bought some Floki Inu when it was like just launched, and I was like,
yeah,
this has a lot of people behind it, and they're probably gonna do some shady stuff with it. But I just bought it because I was like, and I think I bought like $60 worth of it. And just for the regulators out there, I'm not in the U.S., so good luck on that. But yeah, they did some shady stuff with the advertising in the London Tube and stuff like that. It was insane, and and I just saw my net worth grow and grow, and I just like very slowly exited. Like every other day, I sold a little bit off of it. Made me a pretty decent chunk of money. It was pretty nice.
Riding those meme coins.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
Those were the
advise it to
days.
anybody, you know. It's basically like a gamble. I've been
Yeah.
rug pulled as well. I was rug pulled by a crew. Basically what happened is they did like an ICO thing on well, what is it? Finance or something like that. It's Pink Sale is like a place where you can start a BNB coin and basically shill it and ICO it, and it's like it attracts a lot of scams. And there was one coin where right before the coin launched, it was just the guys typed in Telegram. It's like, "Hey guys, thank you for joining. Please be careful next time. Goodbye." And they just exited with all the money. It was just, it just made me laugh so hard, and I got duped by it as well. But it just made me laugh.
You can it's good to know that you can get screwed and laugh about it. That's what we call not investing more than you can afford to lose.
That's true. Yeah.
It's almost like that's an important thing
It's
to
a very
do.
important thing. Yeah, you know, I just listen to Wu-Tang Clan. They say you gotta diversify your bonds, and that's what I do always. So yeah. Anyway, I lost the price of
Yeah,
of two or
let's go
three
to the
pizzas.
next.
Let's go to the next thing, cause yeah.
What do we have next? A chart with let's see the cost of making a Bitcoin and where Bitcoin miners are at. This obviously depends on your electrical price and what equipment you have, but just taking some averages. Yeah, everybody's feeling the pressure. This is a good time to have cheap electricity or really
So
efficient machines.
how do we read this chart, Phil? What's this?
Yeah, explain this to us.
Let's see. I think the top line, this is the top, and the band there is your price per kilowatt, and then the Bitcoin price laid on top of it. So I think that it doesn't have the scale on there. Basically the expensive miners are the ones in the darker red on top, and the now even the lower price miners have been dipped underneath. But
So
I think the point of this
what is
chart is
the
this doesn't
what does the range mean? What are the numbers? What's the
I don't have it actually. I forgot to bring that with me. Apologize. There's a lot
part
lot
we
of
can't read?
preparation got done. This was just one of the smaller items that I wanted
All right.
to
Well,
briefly touch on.
point
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that it looks like it's been going up, but I don't know. Maybe it's going down. I don't know.
I think so. I think with the current dip, we're gonna see a dip in hash rate as well. So probably, do we have any numbers on the next difficulty or not yet?
Not yet. Or
I
well,
think it's
we don't have
stabilized.
them on us right
Last I
now.
looked, it had been trending upward because the new XPs coming online that are squeezing out some of the less efficient machines. But all of this has been counteracting that a bit recently. So yeah, I think it's pretty flat. I'd have to look again. We can go ahead and go on to the next one where some even more stolen bitcoins were found. And I think the U.S. government probably now one of the largest holders of Bitcoin, aside from Satoshi.
Yeah. They found 3 billion worth of Bitcoin in a popcorn tin. That's kind of not where I'd leave my Bitcoins, but yeah, it's pretty insane. Apparently, he stole the money through Silk Road, right?
Yeah, that was my
Yeah,
understanding.
yeah, there's a exploit where he was able to withdraw more than he had, and then he stashed and hid them away. And then I guess some of them got stolen, and he called the cops. And yeah, they're like, oh, how much Bitcoin was stolen? Where did you get all that?
Interesting.
Yeah, they found 50,000 bitcoins, and yeah, it's like they also found those how do you call these coins? The Cartesius coins or something like that. The physical
Oh, the
bitcoins,
physical ones.
the physical
Yeah,
bitcoins, worth those coins are even worth more than just the amount of bitcoins that's on them.
yeah,
That's
they're
interesting.
rare.
Yeah, they're
You
very
get a
rare.
premium for those.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when they were first getting sold online, and I didn't buy any of them. But right now, I think they're worth like 3 times as much as there's Bitcoin on them.
Oh, is it that much? Wow,
I
not
think
looked.
so.
That's a lot. Yeah. Holy crap.
It's definitely a piece of history. Um,
Yeah.
you want to go ahead and move on to my last one before we talk about Alameda, and this one actually might kind of mix in a little bit. It's
Sure,
a good
sure.
transition story.
Let's check it out. Because yeah, there's stuff going on with the Elon Musk deal. Tell us, Phil.
So this is just a rumor. Of course, there's tons of rumors floating around right now. But Elon Musk had bought back X.com a couple of years ago from PayPal, which is a domain he had sold to them way back in the day. It was a supposed to be a an online bank, like an e-bank. This was the 90s, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And it never really went anywhere. I think it was a company for briefly a little bit, but there's some more details in this thread about how Elon's had some recent plans to, or allegedly some plans to, create an like an omni social media, right? Because all these platforms are kind of starting to look like each other. Instagram kind of looks like Twitter, kind of looks like Facebook, even kind of starts to look like YouTube and TikTok. And then he's got plans to add all these features, right? Long form video, long form content. And so there's a bit of speculation that he might do it under that name. There's some other messages between him and Dorsey that were leaked. There they are, that imply there's a need for some permanent storage, right? Like decentralized blockchain sort of storage. Um, and that would certainly tie all in together. And man, if you were in the market for a ready-made, centralized but very fast blockchain, complete with working exchange assets, and maybe you might want to use the Lehman Brothers is trending there. That's
and Crypto.com is
um,
trending. I was like, oh, is that
oh yeah,
bad? What's going
yeah.
on? Did we miss
Yeah,
anything?
if you've got money on exchanges you're not sure about, this is a very good time to leave.
Yes,
I would
yes.
think. Um, but yeah, you could get all that for a very good price right now, as a matter of circumstance, if you were in the market for the one last piece of the puzzle that you need to build all that, and you happen to be Elon Musk. Now it's a second to show up. Um, who knows, right? The price keeps dropping, and I guess with that, you want to start getting into the timeline stuff, and you can fly through them as fast as you like.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Let's just talk a little bit about this before we go in, because have you ever been affected negatively, Django, by any exchanges in the past?
Yep. Um just a little bit of history. I've had my money, almost all of my money in crypto.com since late 2019. And I had it in there I had it in there and it was earning like the high interest. I was earning like 5-6%. In 2019 I was earning like 8% on my money, and I earned it like that for a year. I actually earned over like I think over a quarter of a Bitcoin by the time I was done with that. So I mean, I was in that DeFi space pretty early on. And then in 2022, earlier this year in June, I was playing with the idea of leveraging my own crypto to buy more mining rigs. And so I just started shopping around, and I came across Celsius, and they had the most enticing loans that I was interested in. So I put a bunch of my Ethereum in there, and then 2 weeks later they paused withdrawals. Because it wasn't like I had it in there for very long. I literally put it in, and then like 2 weeks later it was done, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So the only good news, it's not as bad because I put my Ethereum in, but then I borrowed against it, and I took that money that I borrowed against out. So I didn't like technically lose all of it because I did borrow against it, but I still lost like 75% of what I had in there, the value of in
Ouch.
Celsius.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty brutal. I was hoping I was gonna get something back, but I mean it's been months and I've pretty much just wrote it all off. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. But once that happened, I pulled all my money off, everything. So that's when I exited all my funds off crypto.com. I exited everything off of everywhere, just because because I didn't think it was going to happen to Celsius, honestly. Like I knew the risk of like, not your keys, not your crypto, but they were, people were just offering so much, like, crypto.com and like all these other places, they're offering so much for staking and interest. And, it was really enticing, and I just didn't see the risk to reward ratio. I was drawn in by it. And then it happened, and I was like, oh, if I had put my money in, I almost put my money in FTX over Celsius, which would have been a better move, because then I would have been like, "Oh, Celsius went down, time to pull my money out of FTX." But I went with Celsius instead, so I would have had a few extra months.
Yeah, I think what the biggest issue is as well is Celsius and FTX both had pretty good track records. A lot of people really thought that they were very reputable companies. Just like they would see FTX just like a Coinbase, for example, or just like basically like a bank. But in the end, it's just not like that.
Yeah,
And
there was a lot of people that were endorsing FTX, like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. He endorsed FTX. There was a lot of like high net worth individuals that were all like, it seemed very, very, safe and all this, but the reality is, they're not transparent with their stuff, and they mismanaged everything. That's what happened to Celsius ultimately. I mean, it started with Terra Luna. I mean, that's really what caused the whole insolvency era that we're in right now. But
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, if you shouldn't be affected by, like, if a good exchange wouldn't be affected by Terra Luna going down, So
Yeah.
all the bad ones, you can see that all the malpractices they're doing, and yeah, so.
Seems like it would be easy to not play with customer funds. I mean,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
apparently,
It's not that hard.
those labels get tricky, I guess, according to Sam.
yeah, so
Yeah.
in the end, you become your own Ponzi scheme, right? Because that was the interesting thing as well. Was I was always wondering, it's like, wow, FTX really has a lot of venture capital behind them, right? They were like advertising like crazy with like the stadium deal and advertisements. Just they kept
Yeah.
growing and growing and growing.
I don't even
And
think
I
I have
haven't I've never heard of them. I think a year ago or something like that. It was
Yeah,
just
all of a sudden they just had all this money just come out of nowhere, and just boom, 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 taking over everything. I mean, they clearly had a ton of money behind them. And where was that money coming from? It was
well,
very
we're about to find out, I think.
sus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We're about to find out.
they looked like they looked just as legitimate as everyone else, right? Very high quality production
Not
on
to me. They
everything.
just came out of nowhere. I don't trust things that come out of nowhere. I want to see slow growth over time.
Yeah. So last Friday, exactly 1 week ago, this was posted. This was interesting. So there's a guy on Substack called Dirty Bubble Media, and he posts every now and then about interesting things happening in crypto world, and this was posted. Is Alameda Research insolvent? And yeah, take the wheel, Phil.
I actually didn't bother to read this one because at this point I didn't believe it. Right, and I don't think I didn't find it believable. I think I even dismissed it like, oh, this is FUD. They're just trying to FUD the bottom, right? We'll get a fear spike or something. And as things materialized, I was definitely wrong about that one. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think this surprised a whole lot of people.
I think I posted
Um,
this in the group on Sunday, and we were all reading it. And well, I mean, at least I was reading it. I read it all the way through, and I thought, wow, this is a weird conspiracy-like theory. But I mean, it did make a lot of sense, the way that it was worded, because obviously FTX put out to make a very long story a little bit shorter. Let me scroll to the bottom here so I don't get this. Oh, wait, let me just read it first. So let's make a long story a little bit short. What ended up happening is this guy basically figured out that Alameda Research had a lot of funds on paper, but what ended up happening is they had a lot of funds on paper in their own token. And if you have a lot of funds in your own token, it depends on obviously the price of the token. At that time, it was 24.50. But then he looked at the volume of the chain itself and figured out like, hey, there's not enough people trading this token to make it worth anything close to that. And I think in the end, what happened was that spooked a couple people. And you got to tell me when I have to go to the next slide, Phil, because yeah.
okay.
He basically had the theory that everything was just one big Ponzi and it was gonna collapse. And he he got some other tokens out there that he took the activity from, and you could really see that there's activity on chain, and on their own chain there was just almost nothing because it was just used as a kind of token, as like one would hold a share. People wouldn't actually do anything with it. It was just be on their own chain on their own exchange.
let's
Basically
uh
spook the market a bit.
let's flip on to the next one. We'll move through some of these kind of quick. If anybody's been following the story, they've probably seen these, but for those who haven't, this is some of who FTX has left a hole in. Not Binance, I guess, because they sold everything off. But I think when we were talking about this a couple of days ago as it was happening, Rufus, you were mentioning some TradFi people that are probably missing some money. And I think some of their names are on there. BlackRock, Sequoia. Sequoia is, I think, probably going to be a bigger player in this later on. I don't think I saved the one where it's come out that FTX would lend them money, or rather, they would invest in them, pumping their numbers up, and then they would use those pumped up numbers to reinvest in FTX. Kind of a brief version of the flywheel model there. Um, but I don't know, Rufus, you recognize any of the names on there or anything interesting there for you?
I think
Let's
it's a
see
bit
here.
small.
I can't really
Oh,
read
so
it. Um,
that is low res.
yeah,
SoftBank is one of the
SoftBank, of course, is huge.
very huge.
They're the
Yeah.
biggest name out there, kind of. Yeah. Um, let me see here. BlackRock. I mean, there's a huge ton of really big names on that list. Yeah.
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 So I guess the contagion's not done potentially, right? This could spill over into the listed space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know to the extent that these companies are exposed. Potentially not very much, and they're probably good for yeah, I mean, maybe any one of these companies could probably swallow the entire whole, so maybe that's not too big of a deal. Plus, just briefly looking at the stock market, we've broken correlation, right, guys? That everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to decorrelate. Hey,
Yeah,
we're not correlated anymore.
we're finally not pegged to the stock market anymore. Everything's, crypto's been doing worse. Yay,
We
right?
did it,
We
Patrick.
did it.
Yeah.
We saved crypto. We're the Wild West again, just like we wanted. Anyway,
Oh
then what
God,
happened, right? I think CZ, or what do you call him? CZ
Ching Peng Zhao. Yeah.
Zhao Xingping. Yeah.
They guess they got reached out to. Apparently, they reached out to a lot of exchanges, OKX, and a few others, but everybody turned them down. I think everybody saw this where CZ, got the letter of intent. It's like, hey, we'll take a look. Just a chance to, I guess, make all this public. The next one I have on there was where they
Oh
have
crap! I just closed
decided
it.
no. Oh,
I accidentally closed the image instead of clicking on it. I love that. But in the end, what happened was,
they turned them down.
Binance turned them down. What actually happened was they looked at the numbers and they figured out that something was very wrong. Let me grab it. All right, here it is. And they decided to not pursue potential in the acquisition of FTX.
Next one we have after that is Arthur Hayes pointing out that crypto's richest person doesn't want to do the buyout, and that it took Gox people that are owed money from Gox still don't have their money.
Yeah.
Right. That is
Yeah.
still in the works. So
For the people who don't know,
Um,
Mt. Gox got hacked back in 2012, 11, something like that.
it's been so
Yeah.
long.
It's been so long ago. Mt. Gox was a Japanese exchange, and it got hacked in 2011, I think. Don't hold me down on that,
Somewhere
but
around there.
somewhere
there was
around
actually
there.
a bot trading, possibly internally, with funds that didn't exist. Whether they got, I don't know if that was actually all hacked away. Some of it was mismanaged. But yeah, that was crypto's worst ever until just now. We still don't really know how the funds are gone. Some of these other later images will kind of get into some speculation on that, but nobody knows where the money went right now. $10 billion are supposedly gone, and nobody knows where.
Yeah, and I think it's
Um,
it's sad because the users of the exchange are going to be the last ones seeing any dime. They're not going to see any dime, obviously, but they're the last in line, and even though it's their money, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
they'll
and
be seeing 20 cents on the dollar.
I mean, probably not even. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
not even,
probably
probably zero.
you're probably gonna be happy to have any cents after
Yeah.
this is.
I actually thought the 20 cents on a dollar was a great deal to get off of an insolvent exchange.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
isn't
I'm still waiting for my 20 cents on the dollar from Celsius. So I'd be happy to get anything back at this. So it's anything. I mean, I wouldn't be happy. It'd be free money if I got something back because I'm expecting nothing.
Yeah.
I wish I'd get my 15 Bitcoin back from CryptC, but I don't think that's ever gonna happen. They tracked down Big Vern of CryptC, by the way. They said he's just living on an island somewhere far away, and I don't know what happened to that guy, but he owes me money.
Very good.
Anyway,
Good
let's go
luck.
back to to the tweets.
Hey, go ahead to the next one. Got a thread by Low Strife, who just wanted to archive something that on the day this was all happening, right? This was Sunday, I think, is when the bank run started.
This was 2 days ago when Low Strife posted this. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's about events previous. But basically, FTX was operating pretty much as normal. Their dev team was pushing changes to production. They were moving into their new offices in Miami. Basically, nobody at FTX seemed to have any clue that anything was wrong or that anything was going on. Even to when it actually started to happen, people were finding things out on Twitter, and I think they probably lost the most out of this. A lot of them had not only all of their money in FTX because they were customers as well, but like at a lot of startups, they were paid in equity. They had worked there for years and are apparently going to wind up in debt. A lot of them lived
Yeah.
there too. They're all getting evicted. There's like a complex or something that FTX had bought in the Bahamas, moved everybody in, and now they're in debt and need a new place to stay.
Yeah, that's some horrible shit. How, he treats his employees and the people that really, went to task for him and believed in him. Anyways.
I mean, I think that's the issue, right? As soon as like a bankruptcy hits your company, you can't really do anything anymore for your the people that work with you as well. But in the end, obviously, it was just a very dick move by the company. You know, trying to grow with customer funds is just such a terrible uh, business move.
We start to get into maybe a little bit of why. Here on your screen, there's potentially a big hole that Alameda, that's the trading desk arm of FTX, maybe suffered a big loss of some kind, and then had that made up by the customer funds potentially. We don't know where it came from. Just that there's a little bit of a hole for a little bit of time there that yeah, I mean, maybe just an accounting error of some kind. Who knows? Given everything else that happens, it's certainly not off the table to think that that's maybe where some of it went. There's other rumors in the rumor mill about it could have been something in the leverage calculation. They had cross token leverage on FTX, and a miscalculation. That's very complicated to do. And miscalculations in there could have allowed for balances to be off and funds siphon away over time. I guess we'll just have to see. They almost immediately had all of their tether frozen. And in the next tweet,
It's always nice to
um,
know that there's actually some centralized coins out there that are looking out for the best of no one.
yeah, yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
all bad, right?
luckily, wouldn't Tether be just destroyed by something like this? You know, obviously they could just print some more tethers. You know.
Yeah, I think moving on as we tour the damage, FTX had 16 billion in customer assets. Lent more than half of it to sister company Alameda.
That's
Um,
painful. That's just so painful.
yeah, according to the Wall Street Journal.
How does that even
Uh,
happen? I mean, you have to, don't you have like quarterly reports and stuff like that? You have like tax filings. Are you just going to lend 8 billion bucks off of your yeah
Well,
off of a
I
sister
mean, this
company? I don't
wasn't.
know.
No, there weren't an American trading desk, right? And then
Mm.
whose laws were they under? And then I mean, I
Their
guess
own.
yeah, it might as well be, right? They were certainly wealthy enough, or at least appeared to have wielded enough wealth to probably get a small country to make them some custom laws to whatever they wanted, right? Um,
Yeah.
so
So what do we have here, Phil? This is a huge brightness in my eye.
so this is another place all of the money could have gone. This was apparently the structure of all of the companies under FTX and Alameda.
And how
And
much of these are currently filing for bankruptcy? Do we have any of these here that that is still standing?
probably more than these. um, yeah, I've not checked the list of bankruptcies just came out like a couple hours ago, so I've not had the chance to do the comparison there. But this combined with the fact that Sam said something about being off in his head on how much leverage they were taking out, which is already like a whoa.
Yeah, what?
Um, and then like this, that mess was the what you were keeping track of in your head. Like that's the mislabel, right? It starts to make a little sense. Maybe should have had a couple of spreadsheets somewhere in there. I don't know. It seems like it would have been a good idea to keep keep
Maybe
track of
have
some of that.
somebody like whose job it is to, keep track of things. I don't know.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean,
From what I hear, one of the biggest issues that they had is that they just didn't really have a well-structured company up on the top. That a lot of people weren't really like doing jobs that they should have been doing, or there weren't people that were there to really do risk management and a lot of this kind of stuff.
And
yeah,
they were all on speed the whole time, apparently, too. So
I mean, I think if
mandatory
you
stimulus policy.
there's probably only a couple people who really knew in the company where the money was all coming from. If you have if you have someone higher up who's just high all the time and on like, yeah, let's expand, 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 and you just yeah, it's just VC money coming in. Come on, let's just pump it in. Let's just get that stadium up. Let's get this Bahamas office up. Let's get this Miami office up. I saw 4 different videos that were posted in the last month of new offices just getting set up and stuff like that. It was just insane. And now we know how it works. You just steal, apparently.
Apparently.
You just take customer funds and invest it into your own company. Anyway, let's get back to Solana. Phil.
Yeah, so Solana was of course very centralized, run by FTX and Alameda. And there was there's also a lot of unresolved wrapped bridge tokens, right? If you had bridged over WBTC or Tether had official contracts on there, but they were still USDC and Tether wrapped versions of those, all the solid tokens, anywhere those were used in the ecosystem, not just on the Solana side, but if there were any projects that relied on that pair on anywhere else in DeFi, right? That's the fun and exciting part of DeFi, is that we can innovate new ways to implement systemic risk. And so nobody knows what's going to happen to any of these yet. Nobody knows if all of that Bitcoin is still there. Um, and yeah, the cascade continues. Um, again, if you're not a CZ and you're even richer than that, and you're not in crypto and you want to get in, man, you got a spare 10 billion lying around. There is certainly a lot of property to be picked up. It looks like.
I mean, I think you can buy a lot of property with $10 billion without buying an exchange that misused people's
Yeah,
funds.
it seems like junk property to me. I wouldn't want it.
I mean, you
you
could
have
put your
that
name
much
on a
money, you could
stadium,
do
you know,
something
that'll,
much better.
yeah.
I think you got the next one there. The fallout doesn't stop in crypto. We mentioned some celebrities who had endorsed Sam and FTX, but also some politicians here. Gary Gensler was also quite close, and as I guess this is just an accusation, right? This isn't a smoking gun, but it's by a sitting representative, seeming to indicate that Gary Gensler was working with Sam and FTX to basically make a regulatory monopoly around it. And I don't think we've heard from Mr. Gensler.
Yeah. Wasn't there rumors going around that actually Binance instigated this all, because basically what they were doing was they were running Binance off of the market with their the setup of the regulatory monopoly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I mean, FTX and Binance approach are different. You know, FTX was going the regular, regulation route. Binance is like the slow growth, more decentralized. Um, but yeah, I mean, at the beginning, everyone was pointing their finger at Binance, but I mean, if you were a legitimate exchange, you should be able to handle $585 million worth of liquidity of your own token without completely collapsing. So
Yeah.
Binance is not. I mean, Binance is the good guy. Honestly, I think they saw it all happen and they just were like they triggered it, but they didn't do it on purpose. Because I mean, all this stuff that's happening is bad for I mean, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for Binance. It shakes investor confidence in everything.
Yeah.
So it's
It's a very
I
bad moment to let it all play out. You could have just waited a little bit more for the market to recover, and
yeah, something would have. I mean, if this didn't happen this time, it would have happened eventually. If it didn't happen, then it would be ultra corrupt. Like, I mean, it's good that it gets exposed, because then people demand for proof of reserve. People demand better and transparency. So it's like if they got away with it, then they would continually getting away with it and just making billions of dollars off customer funds. Just doing immoral things. So.
yeah.
Overall, it's good. It's painful, but this is how the markets evolve. Is people lose money, and the free markets adjust to what people want. So people lose money, and then next time around, we won't have so many insolvent exchanges because people won't put their money on there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully,
I think it's
forget
just
their history.
I think it's just in crypto. It's just something we're gonna see every now and then, even though there's a lot of regulations coming, obviously because of this. Thanks, Biden. I mean, Sam. Thanks, Sam. Even though there's a lot of regulations coming, there's always going to be unregulated cryptocurrency marketplaces, right? That's what makes crypto so interesting. You can be on some kind of small island back in the wherever, far away, and you can make an exchange where people can register and buy and sell coins, and you can do whatever you want with all those funds. And so stuff like this is just going to keep happening, but obviously not as big as this now, because there's going to be so much
It's happening.
regulations because of this. It's only going to be the shitcoin marketplaces, basically. Yeah. Anyway, Phil, one of our last tweets.
Yeah. Let's see. Which one did I think there's a few we can skip. There's just two that I would want to even mention.
I think
One, BlockFi
I think
pausing and then declaring bankruptcy.
this one's
yeah.
interesting, where FTX US does not allow any with withdrawals anymore.
Yep. And they're possibly halting trading. Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows who had invested in FTX, right? So other than, Binance, I guess. But if they've not outright said that they didn't have any exposure to FTX, you should probably assume that they do. That's what I'm doing. And then the fallout doesn't stop there. Got a tweet about university research programs being shut down. Sequoia there with that was we talked about that earlier with Sam investing in Sequoia and then investing in him.
Yeah.
And then maybe the biggest one yet for a lot of DeFi might be Ren. Ren Protocol, Ren BTC, Ren Labs at some point along the way had been, I don't think they were fully acquired, but mostly acquired by Alameda. And I think Alameda's got enough enough of their hands in there to potentially cause a problem from them. And Ren Protocol says they don't actually know if they've got enough funding to run out the quarter. Ren, I know for a fact, is involved in multiple other DeFi protocols. They're backing for Badger. I can't remember another one, but that's that one might be a pretty big hole if that stops operating, or if there's faith in that lost, or who knows? I mean, we might only be halfway through this. I guess is the end of the story here.
Yeah, so 134 of FTX's firms filed for bankruptcy. I think that's where we're gonna leave it today. So, yeah, we have a lot of companies to set up first before we can do that ever.
Yes. We've got a ways to go for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for growth there.
Yeah.
Wow, 134 companies. How does that ever happen? It's like
Yeah, and that's just their companies, right? That's not even including
Other companies that were
all the companies that are going to have to stop operating just as a result of this.
Yeah, companies that invested into FTX. It just keeps on going on and on and on and on.
Potentially every Solana project. It might not have a blockchain.
What do you think happens with Solana? Wasn't there a big unstaking happening that didn't happen or something like that? It's going to happen in a couple of days. I'm not sure.
I think they pushed it out a week, but I'm not sure. I don't follow Solana. I don't like Solana. I never have. It's just
it's not mineable, so
Yeah, it's network always crashing. I don't know why anybody. Yeah, it's terrible.
They took it down this
might
year.
Have a bit of a centralization issue. Huh?
Yeah, they took it down this year like 7 times or 8 times already. It's insane.
I think Solana is the perfect example why proof of stake doesn't work. So that's like proof of work is needed because of Solana. I mean, it's the perfect example. So,
yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing a community fork of the Solana blockchain. It's just technically, different and a little bit more difficult than the other ones. So, they had to coordinate the restarts with their validators every time they had to restart. So, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it is not good.
Somebody in chat mentions Helium because they switched over to Solana. Now a project like that, because you could still have a copy of the Solana blockchain even if you can't move it forward. So, maybe some projects could get creative, could invent an escape hatch to a different chain or something like that, and offer token redemption. I'm not sure how I would do that off the top of my head if the chain's not working, but I mean, there's lots of creative people out there in this space. So,
I think the chain's currently
maybe
still
some hope.
working, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
still working
mean,
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's still working. It's just a shit coin. So
Yeah, but with all these, I mean, with all the, the employees at FTX were like, huh, and now they're getting kicked out. The next thing they know, they're getting kicked out of their homes. Yeah, it was kind of a miracle that the website it was still up. I don't know if it's still up. It went down for a bit, and then I think it came back up. But I mean, if there's nobody home to run this thing, it almost seems like a matter of time. So, do what you got to do.
yeah.
Best of luck to them all.
What I find
Yeah.
what I found the most interesting is that I think Justin Sun from Tron, he said people that have money on FTX will get their BTT tokens, TRX tokens, and GST tokens, Sun tokens, and HT tokens. They will get them refunded. So he said that.
Yeah.
And I just opened the website right now, ftx.com. What does it say here? FTX is currently unavailable to process withdrawals. We strongly advised against depositing. Deposits of TRX, BTT, GST, Sun, and HT are disabled. People were depositing
so
their
what happened, I actually followed this. This was all last night.
yeah.
And like what happened is that the price of all of the Tron coins, of all of his coins, Sun's coins went 300% up.
Oh,
within
on
a few seconds.
FTX. Yeah.
Only on that exchange, because everybody was exchanging anything they had for it. And it just like then everybody starts crying, well, wait, this is illegal, this is criminal bullshit, they're taking out this was the 20 cents on the dollar that everybody was taking out. And I mean, what can you say? 20 cents on a dollar. I thought it was a pretty good deal for getting out of an insolvent exchange, but it's probably illegal as well. It's possible to be both.
I mean, if history has taught us anything, we're gonna know exactly what happened within 12 years.
Yeah.
And if anybody is gonna get any cent back, 12 years.
Yeah. And no interest.
No interest.
yeah, no interest. Yeah.
Yeah, did you know the guys who got money back from Mt. Gox, from the Mt. Gox hack, are getting the amount of money back that their Bitcoin was worth back then? So technically right now, they found a lot of the hacked coins of Mt. Gox, and they are going to give the people the money back in dollars that it was worth back then, but they got like billions of dollars back in Bitcoin.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's how the Japanese law defines. As soon as you get something stolen, they look at the value at that time. And if you had 100 Bitcoin stolen back then, when it was $11, if you have 100 Bitcoins, $11, you're gonna get $1,100 back. But apparently, Mt. Gox gets to keep the rest.
Someone in chat mentioned that we didn't mention that FTX International and US have also filed Chapter 11, and that Sam has stepped down. I think we may have mentioned the international filing for bankruptcy really early on, like in our intro or something. But to answer your other question there, I think Jax did a bit. But if you've got a self-custody wallet and you can export your seed phrase, then you can always bail from those. I'm personally more worried about the status of the chain that they're on. If you've got a working wallet but no chain, then it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. So that would be my concern. I don't think I have only worthless NFTs on Solana at the moment, so I'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the moral of the story, guys, is not your keys, not your crypto. Don't keep your crypto in an exchange. If you want to keep it in an exchange, be prepared to throw those cryptos into a giant fire and watch the fireworks and laugh at it like I do. I always laugh when I lose money because, that's the only thing, the only way I know how to cope. But yeah, I think that's it
And if you do,
for today.
if you do self-custody, make sure you keep a backup of your seed phrase and keep it private and don't post it anywhere. Just as important as yeah, I mean, not your keys, not your coins, but also you better hang on to those keys. Keep them safe.
And
Keep 'em
ensure
safe.
that if
Keep
your
them
head does
safe.
explode all of a sudden, ensure that someone knows how to get those cryptos back for you, or to at least have a party in your name, because I
There you
think
go.
that's important as well. Anyway, thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us. Django, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thanks. It's been quite a week. What can we say?
It's been a crazy
yeah.
week. It's been a crazy some crazy days. Anyways, if you guys like this, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Django's channel. There's
Much more popular than ours.
yeah, he's way
Much
cooler
less
than
of
us.
scrolling on.
Our podcast sucks, so actually don't subscribe to
I
us,
mean,
but
if you
subscribe to
guys
him.
would stack mining rigs up in there, maybe you get more. Do
God damn,
whatever it
that's what
takes.
we're doing wrong. That's what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
We should have.
You can see how many miners it takes to build a raft, and you can try and float across the river.
That sounds
There we
great.
go.
Yeah, that's our
Yeah.
new project.
Perfect use of our
Server
time and
case raft.
Making a new dam out of GPUs.
Yeah.
yeah. The GPU dam, love it.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us, guys. If you watch this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Django's website is down in the description over there. So yeah, go ahead and check it out, and it has all his social media pages. If you want to know anything about mining,
that website's not supposed to be. My website's a work in progress.
Oh,
half
okay.
of the yeah, just so you know, half the website is still like stock stuff, like from the template I use.
All right, guys. So go there, laugh at it, send him messages on Twitter that he should update his website. He should get off his ass and update his website and do stuff like that.
I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend.
That's it.
Thanks, everybody.